Hello, Craig.
Hello, Ian.
How's it going?
It's okay.
Well, this looks a bit different to the last time we saw it. You've given these a deep, intense clean, haven't you?
Yes, yeah.
And they've come up fantastically well, really. I mean, this carpet is 50 years old, isn't it?
Yes. As you can see, the rubber's come up nice as well.
Yeah.
Considering that's before we've had a go at cleaning it.
And this is after, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So this is the original rubber heel mat.
Yes.
From 1970.
Yeah, that was the one that was damaged, which we mentioned in the last
That's
episode,
right. So
yeah.
what, have you cut an edge off
Yes, because it was a bit jagged, and also whoever had tried to fix it had sewn it with fishing line. So there's kind of thing you get off a strimmer.
Well, that's really hard.
I
It's
know.
like wire.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I took that off, and now I've taken it up a couple of notches so it's straight, and then we're going to re-glue it.
Right. And you can't see the join, as they say.
No.
That's great. And that even though that's everything we're looking at there is 50 years old.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It will still go back in and look
Yes,
beautiful.
as soon as that's glued in, that'll be flat as well, and we'll sew it back on as well.
Right. And this is these are all original bits of carpet
Yes.
again. And this is the main bit that goes behind the seats.
Yes,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
And look at the condition of that. And you can see the indentations in it where the swaging on the bulkhead
Yes.
that I was talking about earlier on the body. That's what they did to give the panels some strength
Yes.
to stop them bending and bowing. So that carpet will go back on there perfectly, won't it?
Yes, it's cleaned up really well as well.
And you mentioned that there was a hole in.
Yes, there was a there was a hole. The carpet fixings, the crown that goes through the face and through onto the bottom, had gone through the carpet. So it had gone through the hessian on the bottom. So we put a patch. We put mohair hood patch, which is blue, on that side.
Right.
And then after that, we're going to fix that to there, so it's back to the hessian, so it'll look like that.
Fantastic. And I remember there was a hole here, wasn't there?
Yes, yeah.
And you can't see it now.
No.
Well, that's great. And have we managed to salvage just about every bit of carpet?
Yes, yeah. Nothing was. That's the biggest bit of damage.
Yeah.
Yes, that there was to it. Yeah.
This is remarkable because normally cars of this age, if they've let in a bit of water or something,
Oh yes, yeah.
the first thing to go is the carpet, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And also, you don't quite know how well it's going to come off until you start taking it off, which we mentioned last time.
Yes, yeah.
And they've all come off in one piece.
Hence this.
Yes, I know, yeah. Yeah, and it still holds the shape, and the binding is all in one piece as well, which is great, yeah.
You've done incredibly well to get that off like that.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the door trims for a moment? The door panels.
Yes.
So that's obviously the right-hand door panel.
Yes.
And you can restick this, can't you? That's not a problem.
That's good. That's going to be refixed. We can tighten that up because it's become baggy.
Yeah.
So we'll retighten that up, and then
And again, this is all 50 years old.
Yes.
This is all absolutely original.
Yes, yeah. And considering again, it's in brilliant condition.
Yeah.
If that's the worst thing that's happened to it, then we'll take that any day.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this here is the panel that goes in there.
Yeah, that's the segment that fits into there. So you've got that, and you've got that there. So that fits into there. So I've had to take that off so I can tighten that up.
Yeah.
And as soon as that's been re-glued, that segment goes back into there.
Sure. Yeah.
And fits like that.
And is this segment okay? If I can just, is that all right actually?
Yeah,
it looks it.
It's in good condition.
See, again, even the staples, these are normally rusty.
Yes, I know.
They're still shiny.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And that's been signed by the person who made it in 1970. And this is build number 516, Bertoni build number 516, which is actually 100 ahead of Lamborghini build numbers. So the car is build 416, and Lamborghini made them 100 ahead so that they could differentiate their numbers from Lamborghini's numbers. But isn't that wonderful to see?
That's great.
You know, that somebody signed that off as finished. And I noticed, I mean, this is hardboard. It would be tragic to throw that away.
Oh yes, yeah.
Is there anything we can do with that?
We can reinforce. There's only that peg there that's gone. I think there's another one there, but we can reinforce that with something, because all the other pegs are fine and they fit in. They fit under there, and then that's closed in. Right. So other than that, that's fine. That's more than doable.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only other car I've seen to this magnitude where people have signed their names on it is Rolls-Royce Silver Clouds and things from the 1960s. You take a seat out or a carpet, and somebody's actually, signed the back of it.
It's brilliant.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Try finding that on your modern production car.
Yes, yeah.
No, that's brilliant. Really, really good. Is there anything further to add? We got the headlining out in one piece, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yeah. So that came out in one piece.
And that again is.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll just put it over here. Yeah. So you've managed to peel this back and carefully take it off.
Yeah.
This is vinyl, of course, which goes really hard with age, doesn't
Yes,
it?
I know, but that contour there, and this profile it's difficult to get as well, and it's because it's still intact.
You can use
yes,
it.
Yeah.
You can do something wonderful with this. Well, that's great. So that's the whole original interior from 1970.
Yes.
1969, going back in.
Yeah.
And this will all clean up and reuse.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. As I say, so this is all folded over and
glued.
Yes,
yeah, that's
the back window. That's where the rear view mirror goes, of course. Yes. They're the sun visor mountings.
Yes.
And you've managed to completely peel this off without breaking any of it or damaging any of it. That's fantastic. Because it wasn't, who was thinking about 50 years on?
Yeah.
2020, we were all walking on Mars in 1969 or 70, weren't we?
And we would never have thought that we'd be taking it out to put it back in as well.
Exactly. Yeah, but what a delight. Okay, well, that's that. There's something else I would like to talk about while we're here, and that is we're actually doing a Jarama for a customer overseas, and this is the original headlining, is it?
Yes, yeah.
So
I've had to take it apart because we needed to do a new one, so I used this as the pattern.
Yep.
So this is the condition it was in. It was quite worn and discoloured.
It is,
and
isn't it?
There's the header rail.
Yep. Yeah,
the back segments.
This has not fared so well.
No, in comparison.
Well, this is more normal, isn't it?
Yes,
this is more typical.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
The Miura is the exception, not this.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, this is the snakebite headlining, isn't it?
Yes,
Which is the original type.
Yeah.
So you've used this. Obviously, that's where the sun visors go. There's the stereo rear view mirror again. So they're the old bits.
Yes.
Can we have a look at what you've done?
There's the header rail.
So this is.
So that was the original.
Right. And this is new snakebite material that we've got.
This is the new trimmed one. Yes. Yeah.
That's the radio.
Yes.
So this is ready to go in now, is it?
Yes. That's finished now. That's complete. And here is the new headlining.
I see. Waiting for the car to come back from the paint shop, and this is ready to fit then?
Yes, and the pins are in it as well, ready to go. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So the pins have been fitted.
Oh, I see.
Yes, yeah.
Wow. Well, that's going to look a bit different. And this is the original snakebite material
yes,
again?
Yes, it is, yeah.
That's going down the pillars by the windscreen, isn't
Yes.
it? Fantastic. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that in the car.
Yes.
No pressure. No, but that's great, Craig. Really good. So that's it. Ready
Yes.
to
Yeah,
fit.
Ready to fit.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Right. Well, we're going to move on and look at another Lamborghini now, a Miura, with some gearbox things to talk about. Well, this is another Miura that we've got here at the moment, and the transfer gear cluster is a little noisier than it should be. So we're trying to get to the bottom of that. It's quite an interesting setup on the Miura. You've obviously got the engine here. This is the crankshaft as it's called, where the power comes out of, and this sits on the end of it like that. And then you've got transfer gears which go across here, and this is the main input to the gearbox here. We've got two gears here. This is the intermediate gear which goes there, and these are helical spur gears which mesh like that. And the reason that they are called helical gears is because if you describe a curve through them, it's actually a helix. And the reason why these are like this is because as the gears mesh, they actually slide against each other, the teeth. They're sort of doing that, if you like. And whilst this exerts slight sideways force on the gears, it's trying to push one or the other that way, depending on which one's driving. The whole point of helical gears is to make them quiet. And it's quite interesting because these teeth are actually 25 degrees from the axis of the shaft. The more helical the gear is, the more angled the teeth are, the more power they consume because they're sliding to keep them quiet against each other. The whole point of this is as they slide, they dampen the noise of each gear. That's why straight cut gears, as they're called, that were used in other parts of cars, like reverse gears on quite a few cars and things like that, are actually much noisier because the teeth are hammering against each other and clashing against each other without any dampening effect. And a very good example of this is the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing from the early 1950s. It was a very uncompromising, very raw road car, fantastic car to drive, but not for the faint-hearted. And if you drive a 300 SL Gullwing, the gearbox is quite noisy. You can hear the teeth whining away. And that's because the gear angle was 15 degrees, so quite a shallow angle. And when Mercedes-Benz brought the 300 SL Roadster out, the convertible version, which was designed for user-friendliness, things like that, Mercedes actually altered the gear angle to 30 degrees to make the gearbox super quiet so that you didn't have this whine going on inside the cabin when you were driving it. It just made it more of a luxury car, but it sapped power. So to compensate, Mercedes actually added 10 brake horsepower to the engine. So we're going to just do some work around this. As I say, these generate sideways forces as they move, so we have bearings which sort of compensate for that. It's quite a complicated little cluster, this. This is the main shaft off the other Miura that we're doing, and we've stripped this out from the gearbox in the cylinder block. And what we're looking for here is I can actually read this and tell how the car's been driven over the years. So the synchromesh cones and the synchromesh hubs, if somebody's been driving it really harshly, and the thing that suffers most on Italian cars is second gear, it's always second gear synchromesh. People drive them from cold into second, and that's why the second gear takes such a hammering. And also from third, people tend to downshift quickly. Whoever has been driving that yellow Miura for the 29,000 kilometers of its life has been driving it really well, because none of the synchromesh hubs are worn. These little teeth on the synchro rings here, these are a real indicator of how worn it is, because these actually enter into the synchro hub here as they move like that. and they're all in beautiful condition. And this tells me that whoever has been driving that car knew how to use a gearbox. So they probably didn't force it into gear. Well, they didn't use it harshly. They quite possibly double declutched, as it's called. There is an argument for leaving that be. We won't. We'll strip and double check everything. But this car has been driven super sympathetically. And as I say, these tiny little teeth, ridges on the teeth, are perfect. And that tells us that somebody's been driving the car who knows what they're doing. So we're going to look at another project now that's on the go and just arrived. Well, we've got a new victim that's arrived over the last few days. This is a Lamborghini Countach. That is the correct way to pronounce it, by the way, after decades of wondering. I spoke to some people in Italy fairly recently, 2 people from the Lamborghini factory, and they both said Countach is the correct pronunciation, which means wow or whatever. It can mean various things, actually. Some of them we can talk about and some we can't, but anyway, Countach is the correct pronunciation. This is a lovely car. It's all original, never had any paintwork, never had any leather work. It's done 9,600 kilometers from new, and it hasn't run for a number of years for various reasons. So we've just got it in to try and get a tune out of it, haven't we?
We
Keith?
have, yeah.
You've ascertained that the fuel pump relay wasn't working on it. Is that right?
Yeah, it's we're working through it slowly. It seems to have more than one issue. Fuel pumps were not firing up because we've got a faulty relay. That's pretty easy to bypass. Then we discovered it's got stale fuel in it. It's contaminated, so we've pumped that out, put some fresh in. So then we thought we'd try and start it, and we got nothing. So then we checked for sparks, we've got no spark. So where I've got to at the moment is the testing of the ignition module,
Right.
which is hidden under the wing here.
Yeah.
As you know, they're renowned for not being very good, the original
Yeah.
Morelli system.
Yeah. Just dry joints on soldering and.
It could be something like that. I mean, having read up on it, it seems most of these cars have thrown away the old Morelli system because they don't last and you can't get them anymore.
Yeah.
People have fitted aftermarket systems. This has still got its original kit. So hopefully, given the originality of the car, we can do something with it. That's the hope. So we haven't got to put a non-original part on. But if that's what we have to do to make it run, then that's what we'll need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can make a decision at every step of the way, can't we?
Yeah.
The worry is
absolutely.
always, is it going to fail again, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing to bear in mind is when people wash them, and this car hasn't been washed that much, but when they wash them, the water drips through these vents. And on that side, you've got a relay pack, the ignition system, and a load of fuses right underneath the vent. It's not the finest piece of industrial design, is it?
Not really. Not really.
It's just like a sort of a breakdown waiting to happen, really.
Yeah.
But, I mean, wonderful car, and this is particularly rare. It's a Quattrovalvole Countach, 4 valves per cylinder, which was introduced in 1985. But this is special again because it's called the 88.5 Countach, because it was brought out halfway through 1988. And it's got the body skirts on the sides, and it's got slightly revised rear suspension geometry, which means it handles better. But this was so rare, they made, I think, 18 right-hand drive Countach 88.5 QVs, so it's a super rare car, this, actually. But to get back to, so you think you're on the scent with the electrics, do you?
As I said, we haven't got an HT spark, and the ignition packs, original ignition packs on these, renowned for failing. So that's what I was delving into, and I think I've narrowed it down. There appears to be some bad connections on the multi-plug where it plugs into the box. So that'll be my next test, is to clean those up and then see if we get any life out of it.
Okay.
So,
well,
fingers crossed.
We might or might not get a tune out of it then.
We might.
It's
we might
hanging
not.
in the balance.
It's hanging in the balance.
I think
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
know
yeah.
about it when we do, don't you?
We will. Yeah, definitely.
With this exhaust system
Yeah.
on it.
I mean, it needs a lot of other things checking over because it hasn't run for so long.
Yes.
So, you know, the distributor cap is dirty inside, etc., etc. So we need to run through everything.
Yeah, of course.
Really, before we're satisfied. But yeah,
Very good.
hopefully it won't be too long before we get a tune out of it.
Good job you like a challenge, Pete.
Yeah, indeed. Definitely gets the old grey matter working, this one.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay.
Well, that concludes another episode of Tyrrell's Classic Workshop. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it hasn't been too nerdy for you. So thanks for watching, and thanks to House of Cars for helping to make this possible, and we'll see you soon.